Hello, it's Mark back with another Photoshop tutorial. The last of the year, in fact, because today is the 31st of December. We're going to be looking at this picture. No other reason than I chose this one to demonstrate some things. It did start life out as that picture. So I turned the statue around, I've lost the signpost and some of the people. And the reason I've chose this one is because this was really easy to do. It didn't need any accurate selection at all, yet as you can see we have moved a little bit intricate in parts, statue out the way. We have moved some people out of the frame. So this is about demonstrating how this can be done very easily, and not even taking advantage of Photoshop's fantastic selection techniques that can really hone in on things and can refine hair for you. This is a bit slapdash, but I'm proving the point that slapdash works in Photoshop. So here we are in the wonderful world of Photoshop, and the picture we started with had the statue facing the other way and some people walking along the quayside and some signpostage, some signposts, and we're going to get rid of those. So I guess the first thing we need to do, preserve everything, is Control J or Command J to take a copy of our background layer. So here it is, we've got our layer copy. I want to make a selection of this chap, so I'm going to press M for my marquee tool, the select tool of choice today, and I'm going to choose a rectangular marquee tool. And let's just draw a rectangle around this guy. It is about being a little bit more slapdash, but showing how that in certain circumstances is all you need. So I've now got a selection around the head of the statue. I'm going to fill that, content away fill. So edit, content away fill. And this will then, and we'll zoom this in a little bit. Actually, I don't need to, you can see it's done a horrendous job. So if I take this picture out so I can see more of it, it help explain what happens. Content away fill will take pixels from the area in green. Now in this case it's actually chosen a bit of the church, St Mary's Church, and the rest of the statue and the Sage building. So if I just with my brush tell it to ignore those areas, and if you watch the over here, there you are, it's decided that it's going to do that. And we'll just click OK. I'm quite happy with that as is. Come on Photoshop, do your thing. What's kicked in? Backups? Is Photoshop being naughty? There we go. Control 0 to get us back up to full size again. What has just happened onto a new layer, so we haven't actually lost anything yet. But what I do want is I do want this head of the statue. So it's the selection is still there. I'm going to go onto the layer which contains it, and I'm going to go Control or Command J, and now I've got a copy of the statue, which I'm going to put at the top of my layer stack. Switch back on the content away fill and switch off the copy. So there you can see we've actually got a copy. So what I'm going to do now is turn this around. Control T, right click in the middle, flip horizontal. It wouldn't quite look the same flip vertical, and I think I need to nudge it over a little bit and press enter. Okay, so there you go, seamless, jobs are good. But seriously, we want to blend this in now. So if I double click to the right of where it says layer 2, I get my layer styles box, and we're going to blend these two layers. So here's the blending section. It says this and layer and underlying layer, this being the layer we have with our chap on, and the underlying layer being the clouds. If I take this slider here and move it from right to left, you can see how the underlying layer is starting to come through, because it's lighter than our current layer. And if I keep going, it takes everything out. Option and click, that splits it and it improves the transition. So there we are. We've got that part done. So I'm going to click OK, and really haven't done anything. Now I'm not going to go into the fine detail, but yes, I would actually fix that little line. If you can't see that little line, okay, we need a little bit of adjustment there, but I'm just going to carry on for the moment. That's not important compared to the tools and techniques I'm showing you at this moment in time, and it's easy to fix. I'll do that at the end. Right, so we've now got our person facing the other way. What about this signpost? When you have a very regular repeating pattern, such as these bollards and the lines going along the shore and the background, it is so easy to mask things out using spot tool. So S, I've selected, spot, S for clone stamp tool. Clone stamp, how does that work? Well, you put something, put your cursor over what you want to be the source, hold down the Alt or Option key and click. So I've now got that as a source. I can paint that on the screen. Okay, Control Z, 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 Z. Now my source, I want bollards at regular intervals here. So I'll probably look to put just in front of this one, Alt or Option and click, and I've primed that now, and I'll line that up just here. And now if I paint, you can see the crosshair is what I'm painting from. And you can see the circle is where it's getting painted. Now then, I'm just going to reset, Option, click to the sample there, just to get rid of the beginning of this that was starting to come through. And there you are. We've actually now just got rid of that whole sign. We can do the same with people. Let's just get rid of this one chap here. So it's a very regular pattern. I've got a line here. I don't want to get an incorrect line, so I'm actually going to start with that line there. Option, click, line that line up, and now paint. And there you go. It's inherited another Gateshead City Council crest on it there. So that's Slapdash. It's using the clone stamp tool, it's used content aware fill, and it's used blend layer styles. And it is as easy as that. Let's fix that little line now before we move on to some other bits and bobs I want to show you. Okay, to get rid of this is quite simple. First thing I'm going to do is take a stamp visible copy of all the layers. So that is one layer that will contain all of the other layers put together, amalgamating them, if you like, merging them all together. But if I were to merge them, such as right click and then merge or flatten, you end up with one layer. Just as a safety precaution, in case I want to back out and try this differently, I will create a stamp visible, which is Command Option Shift and E on a Mac, Control Alt Shift E on a PC, and as you can see, that is a combination of all our edits so far, and has the benefit of retaining all of the edits we had. So we can actually go back and unpick some of our knitting should we want to. And just by doing that alone, we've got rid of part of that line. And the bit that I'm not happy about now is the straightness of that bit of cloud there. Totally natural. So we had S for our clone stamp tool. So I'm going to call it up again. I'm going to target the transition of the cloud and sky here. So Alt and click. And as you can see on my brush, I'll just make this a bit bigger. Bear with me. See, my brush is actually taking that over. And make it a little bit smaller. and also I'm just going to harden it just a bit because I don't want the fuzziness to get into the side there. And there you go. Well, I'm just going to call it on that. So that's tidied that up a little bit. What else did I want to show you today? Yes, if you wanted to edit this picture and you wanted to do something with the light areas, the ones that are more luminant, check out my previous video. I'll put a link above now, and that tells you all about luminance and how to create various luminance masks. But here is one way you can do it, which I didn't cover in that video, and that is simply to use select color. So what would select color do with highlights, shadows and midtones? Well, the drop down box for this, as well as having colors, also has highlights. So if I say I want the highlights, you can see the mask, what it thinks is the highlight. You can just quickly jump back, see where that is on the image. With that, I'm going to click OK. I've now got a selection which Photoshop thinks are the highlights. With the selection loaded, if I choose anything, levels, curves, hue, saturation, any really adjustment layer, it will apply that adjustment layer and it will inherit the selection as a mask. So there's our first curves adjustment layer, which will only impact what's in our mask in white, or certainly not black anyway. So levels of grey and so on exist in there. Let us have a quick look. I shall Option and click, or Alt click on a PC. You can see here, whatever we do with this adjustment will not touch anything black. It certainly will touch everything white, and it'll start to touch things which are darker grey through to lighter grey. That's the transition. So I'll just click on my curves, but I haven't done anything with the curves yet. Let's return. Oh, and that was, let's get this right. That was the highlights we're going to use for. Let's go back and repeat that exercise. So select color range, and this time I'm going to say midtones. And notice you can actually change those values yourself. I'm going with the default. What happens if you change them? Well, you tell it to actually take more light. It was 150, so I'll return it to 150. I'm going to go with the default. I'm going to click OK. It has loaded a selection. I now go and choose an adjustment layer, and for want of anything better, I'm going to say curves again. So curves layer is applied, and it inherits the selection as a layer mask, and that was mids. You never guess what we're going to do next. Return to our layer, select, and color range, and this time I'm going to choose shadows. I'm going to click OK. It creates the selection. I'm going to come down and I'm going to apply a curves layer. It inherits the selection as a mask. I'm going to call that shadow. So now I've got three separate adjustments. They happen to be curves, which I can use to target things. So for example, if we wanted to darken our shadows, click on a curves adjustment layer here, and we're going to start to darken off the shadows in our picture. I'm going a little bit more extreme than I would because I want you to be able to more easily see on a YouTube video what it's actually doing. And if we wanted to change the mids as well, we could do that. These aren't the edits I'm suggesting. I'm just showing with a bit more extreme so you can actually see these happening, that we can actually do that. Okay, so let's just go back. I'm just going to reset this curves layer. So really switching those on and off makes no difference because we've not made a change now to any of them. Which brings me to the final tip, and that is how to add a bit of contrast to a picture. It doesn't matter what, well, I'll tell you what, we'll get rid of it. I'll prove it doesn't matter. I'll just get rid of these and we'll just add any adjustment you like. Oops, would help if I clicked on the right button. So I'm going to add levels. Switch it on and off. It's not done anything because no change has been made to it. However, now that I've got that, if I choose a blend layer, I can choose, say, multiply, it darkens it, it adds more contrast. And then I can choose to change the opacity on that. And now I've got a way of quickly adding contrast across a picture just by creating a unaltered adjustment layer above the layer and change its blend style. And of course, I'd want to clip it so it doesn't affect anything else in my layer stack should I have had an open layer stack. We don't, because I'd done that stamp visible one there. And that was my last tip in this one. Don't know how long we've been running for, but thank you for staying with it. Happy New Year to everyone. This was recorded on Thursday, 31st of December 2020. And click on subscribe and like, and give me a thumbs up if you like that. Leave a comment, any suggestions, and we'll do it all again next year.